when I rescued the blood-soaked girl on that rainy night. I never expected her to be the heiress of an underworld family. She pretended to be a bullied student and moved into my home, yet contacted her subordinates late at night to handle cargo. I played the role of a devoted boyfriend, secretly gathering evidence, until I heard her tell her bodyguard, "Lock him up in South Mountain Villa," the very key step in my revenge plan. In this game of love, who is the hunter and who is the prey? Only when the truth was unveiled did I realize she had already laid an inescapable net. I snapped my eyes open. Rainwater slid down my cheeks, the cold sensation confirming I was still alive. No, not just alive, I was reborn. Before me was the familiar alley entrance. Under the dim streetlight, a slender figure huddled in the corner. Her long black hair, soaked by the rain, clung to her pale cheeks. Glaring bloodstains marked her white dress. Lu Yuran. I subconsciously reached into my pocket and, sure enough, found the yellowed photograph, our first picture together. The date showed it was this day, last year, the very day we first met. Memories from my past life flooded back like a tide. I had fallen in love with this underworld heiress masquerading as a bullied student, given her everything, only to be hit and killed by a truck sent by her father the night before our wedding. And my best friend, Su Huai, was pushed off a tall building by Lu Yuran's younger brother, Lu Yao, for investigating the Lu family's dark dealings. Save me. A faint voice interrupted my thoughts. Lu Yuran looked up, her eyes, the ones I fell in love with at first sight, now filled with tears, gazing at me pitifully. In my past life, I was deceived by these eyes, bringing her home without hesitation, thereby stepping into an abyss from which there was no return. I took a deep breath, suppressing the churning hatred in my heart, and put on a worried expression as I crouched down. "Miss, are you all right? Do you need me to take you to the hospital?" According to the script from my past life, she would refuse to go to the hospital, only asking me to take her home. No hospital. She weakly grabbed my wrist, her fingertips icy cold. "Just take me, away from here." Exactly the same, word for word. I pretended to hesitate, then sighed. "All right, my place is nearby. You can come tend to your wounds there first." As I helped her up, her entire body leaned against me. The faint scent of perfume from her hair drifted into my nostrils. It wasn't a brand an ordinary student could afford. Oblivious in my past life, I now instantly recognized the unique bass note of this limited edition perfume. "Thank you." She whispered her thanks, but the corners of her mouth curled upwards imperceptibly for a moment. I pretended not to see and supported her towards my apartment. The rain soaked our clothes. Her body trembled slightly, whether from cold or pretense. I couldn't tell. Back at the apartment, I took out the first aid kit and gently tended to the wounds on her arm. The injuries looked frightening, but were all superficial, cleverly positioned to avoid vital spots. Thinking back now, it was clearly a meticulously planned, self-inflicted injury ploy. "My name is Zhang Jingsheng. I work at the nearby hospital." I deliberately repeated my introduction from the previous life. "And you?" "Lu Yuran, in university, medical student." She lowered her eyelids, her long lashes casting shadows on her face. "Thank you for saving me. Those girls are always bullying me." I sneered inwardly. "In university medical school?" Lu Yuran had indeed graduated from medical school, but with a medical doctorate from a top foreign university. The biological agents she developed provided core technological support for the Lu family's black market trade. "You should change into my clothes first. You're soaked." I handed her a set of clean loungewear, turned to pour water in the kitchen, giving her some privacy. When I returned, she had changed and was sitting on the sofa. The oversized t-shirt slipped off, revealing one shoulder where the edge of a snake tattoo was faintly visible, the symbol of the Lu family's core members. In my previous life, I didn't know the meaning of this tattoo until the very end. "Are you hungry? I'll cook some noodles for you." I put down the water glass, offering a gentle smile. She shook her head, but then chuckled softly upon hearing my stomach growl. "You're the hungry one, aren't you? I can. Help make something simple." She said the same thing in my previous life, but I ended up cooking. Back then, I thought she was injured and needed rest. Now I understand she simply can't cook. Why would the young mistress of a mafia family need to cook for herself? No need, you're injured. I walked towards the kitchen. Is tomato and egg noodle soup okay? She responded softly, her gaze following my figure. In the kitchen, I chopped vegetables while contemplating my strategy. Rebirth gave me a chance to turn things around, but my opponent is the Liu family, who controls the underworld of N City. The slightest misstep could lead me back to my old doomed path. As the noodles went into the pot, I sensed someone approaching from behind. Smells good. Liu Yuren's voice sounded almost directly beside my ear. She had silently appeared behind me at some point. I didn't expect you to know how to cook. Suppressing an instinctive shudder, I answered nonchalantly. Living alone for a long time, one has to learn to take care of oneself. Go sit down and wait. It'll be ready soon. She didn't move, instead stepping closer, her chin almost resting on my shoulder. Teach me, okay? I want to learn. This gesture was different from my previous life. Back then, Liu Yuran always maintained an elusive distance, only allowing some physical contact after I confessed my feelings. This intimacy now felt too soon, too deliberate. Of course, I turned my head to smile at her, pretending not to notice the calculating glint in her eyes. But you should rest today. I'll teach you another time. After dinner, I prepared the sofa bed. You take the bedroom. I'll sleep here. How could I? She bit her lip, a look that could soften any straight man's heart. Don't be polite, you're injured, I insisted. Finally, she reluctantly agreed. Before heading to the bedroom, she glanced back at me, her expression complex and unreadable. In the dead of night, I lay on the sofa, reviewing the day's anomalies. Liu Yuren's behavior patterns showed subtle differences from my previous life. More proactive, more dangerous. Could it be that she, too? Faint footsteps interrupted my thoughts. I immediately regulated my breathing, pretending to be fast asleep. Someone crouched beside the sofa. The familiar scent of perfume told me it was Liu Yuran. She gently brushed aside the stray hair on my forehead, her fingertips grazing my cheek almost imperceptibly. This time, I will definitely keep you by my side forever. Her whisper was nearly inaudible, yet it made my blood run cold. This wasn't something the Liu Yuran from my previous life would say. Does she remember the past life? I maintained steady breathing, but my heart pounded like a drum. If she has also been reborn, then this game of revenge will be far more dangerous than I imagined. But strangely, her tone held no guilt, no calculation, only a kind of morbid obsession. After an unknown amount of time, she finally stood up and left. I quietly opened my eyes and saw her standing in the moonlight, gazing at the snake tattoo on her wrist, a strange smile playing on her lips. At that moment, I was certain, whether she was reborn or not, this Liu Yuran was more dangerous than the one from my past life, and also more fascinated by me, and I must be better at pretending than she is to survive this deadly game. Morning sunlight streamed through the gap in the curtains. I had been awake for a while, but pretended to be asleep. Faint noises came from the kitchen. As expected, Liu Yuran couldn't hold back. I squinted my eyes and saw her tiptoeing around the kitchen, searching for things and awkwardly handling the utensils. She picked up the kitchen knife, like holding a scalpel, elegant yet out of place. Ah, a soft cry, and the knife clattered to the floor. I immediately woke up with a start and hurried towards the kitchen. What's wrong? Liu Yuran was squatting on the floor, clutching her right index finger with her left hand. Blood seeped from between her fingers. She looked up at me, a flicker of panic in her eyes that quickly turned into a look of grievance. I wanted to make you breakfast. Don't move. I grabbed her hand. The cut wasn't deep, but deep enough to hurt. This injury came at just the right time, I thought, but outwardly I frowned. The wound needs disinfecting. The first aid kit is under the coffee table in the living room, she blurted out, then, realizing her slip, quickly added, I saw you put it there last night. I pretended not to notice this inconsistency and led her to the living room to treat the wound. Her fingers were slender and long, her nails neatly trimmed into rounded, delicate shapes, coated with clear polish, definitely not the habit of an ordinary student. You sit still. I'll make breakfast. I deliberately put on a stern face. An injured person should behave like one. She pursed her lips into a smile, her eyes curving into crescents. You're right, Dr. Zhang. That nickname made my heart tighten. In my past life, she started calling me Dr. Zhang after our first date because I joked I was like a doctor treating her. This nickname had appeared far too early now. In the kitchen, I pondered while frying eggs. Liu Yuren's behavior patterns were similar to the past life, yet not entirely the same. Like an actor who has read the script but is improvising. If she was also reborn, why put on this act? Wouldn't kidnapping me and taking me back be more her style? Unless she wanted more than just my person. Smells good. Liu Yuren's voice came from behind, interrupting my thoughts. I turned around. She had at some point silently approached again and was now standing on tiptoe, peering at the eggs in my pan. She was close enough for me to smell my shower gel on her, the bottle I gave her last night. Go sit down. I gently pushed her shoulder. It'll be ready soon. During breakfast, Liu Yuren ate the fried egg in small bites, her movements as elegant as if in a high-end restaurant. She kept stealing glances at me, quickly lowering her head whenever I looked her way, like a young girl experiencing her first crush. "Aren't you working today?" she asked suddenly. "Took the day off," I replied casually. In my past life, I had indeed taken leave this day to take care of her. "What about you?" "School." "I took a week off," she said, stirring the milk in her glass. "Those girls. I'm afraid they'll again." I took her hand. "Do you need me to go talk to the teachers with you?" She shook her head, dark hair falling to cover half her face. "It's no use. Their families have connections." What a clever lie. The Liu family had the most connections in N-City. Who would dare bully the young Miss Liu? "Then stay here for a few days," I said, following her script. "You can go back when you feel safe." Her eyes lit up, then dimmed again. "Wouldn't that be too much trouble for you?" "Not all," I smiled. "But I should mention up front, my cooking is average, and I'm just SOSO with housework." "I can learn," she said eagerly, then, realizing she'd overreacted, lowered her voice. I can help." After the meal, I pretended to go to the study to work, but in reality, I was monitoring the living room through my laptop's camera. Liu Yuren first sat obediently on the sofa watching TV. After confirming I'd closed the door, she immediately took out her phone and walked to the balcony. I turned up the volume and heard her hushed voice. "Handle it cleanly. Leave no trace." "Him? Not for now. Monitor, don't get too close." Her tone was calm and sharp, a stark contrast to the vulnerable demeanor she showed in front of me. A few minutes later, she returned to the living room, reverting to the timid student she pretended to be. At noon, I suggested ordering takeout, but she insisted on learning to cook. In the kitchen, I stood behind her, guiding her on how to chop vegetables, teaching her hand over hand the correct way to hold the knife. The faint scent of her perfume mixed with the fresh fragrance of her shampoo made me dazed for a moment. "Like this?" she asked, turning her head, her lips almost brushing against my cheek. "Yes, don't put too much force into your wrist." I took half a step back, maintaining distance. A flicker of displeasure crossed her eyes, quickly replaced by a smile. "Teacher Zhang, you teach so well." Lunch was barely edible, but I ate with gusto, praising her talent. She looked as happy as a child receiving praise, but I saw the calculation flicker in her eyes. She was testing my limits, seeing how easily I could be pleased. In the afternoon, the doorbell suddenly rang. Liu Yuren tensed up instantly, her eyes becoming sharp. "That should be Su Huai," I said, getting up. "My buddy. We arranged yesterday for him to pick something up today. Should I make myself scarce?" She tugged nervously at the corner of her clothes. "No need. It's a good chance for you two to meet." I walked towards the door, but alarm bells were ringing in my head. Su Huai hadn't arranged to come yesterday at all. This was a dangerous variable. Opening the door revealed Su Huai, just as expected. He looked utterly confused. "What tea, Su Huai?" I interrupted him loudly. "Come in. The stuff is in the study." He frowned at me, but played along and entered. He was clearly taken aback when he saw Liu Yuren in the living room. "This is my friend, Su Huai. This is, Liu Yuren. She's staying with me for a few days," I introduced vaguely. "Hello." Liu Yuren nodded timidly, but her eyes were secretly sizing Su Huai up. Su Huai nodded, then turned to me. "Where's the stuff?" I led him into the study, closed the door, and immediately lowered my voice. Why are you here? Didn't you text me yesterday, saying you'd found something suspicious and asked me to come cover for you today? He pulled out his phone to show me. My heart jolted. I hadn't sent any such message. My phone might have been hacked. I thought quickly. Listen, that girl outside is not simple. She might be from the Liu family. The Liu Corporation? Su Huai's eyes widened. Did you get involved with gangsters? I'll explain the details later. Just play along with me now. I randomly grabbed a USB drive from the drawer and gave it to him. Pretend this is it. Back in the living room, Liu Yuran was pouring tea. As she handed a cup to Su Huai, she accidentally knocked it over, spilling tea on his pants. I'm sorry, she exclaimed, grabbing tissues in a fluster, taking the opportunity to observe Su Huai's reaction up close. It's fine, Su Huai said, taking the tissues, but his eyes darted towards me, full of questions. The next half hour was an ordeal. Liu Yuran acted like a nervous young girl, but kept probing Su Huai in various ways. Su Huai, completely clueless, could only barely manage by relying on our years of unspoken understanding. After finally seeing Su Huai off, Liu Yuran seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, reverting to her vulnerable posture once more. Your friend. Seems nice, she said quietly. Yeah, we've known each other for 10 years, I deliberately emphasized, watching her reaction. A shadow flickered in her eyes, then she smiled. That's nice. I don't have many friends. That night, I pretended to go to bed early, actually waiting for Liu Yuran's next move. Sure enough, at 1 in the morning, she crept into the study and turned on my computer. Through the preset surveillance, I watched her expertly crack the password and go through my files, emails, and browsing history. She stared intently at the screen, her profile looking exceptionally sharp in the cold light of the monitor. Suddenly, she opened my photo album, stopping at a picture of me and Su Huai. Her finger slid across the screen, pausing on Su Huai's face. Her gaze was terrifyingly cold. Shouldn't exist, she muttered to herself, her voice so low it was almost inaudible. An hour later, she returned to the bedroom. I immediately got up and quietly checked the computer. She had cleared the browsing history, but hadn't discovered the hidden monitoring program I had set up. The playback showed she had copied my contact list and all recent files, specifically marking everything related to Su Huai. What chilled me even more was that what she entered into the search bar wasn't ordinary keywords, but precise code commands. Commands only professional intelligence agents or advanced hackers would use. Early the next morning, Liu Yuran reverted to her harmless appearance. At breakfast, she asked casually Su Huai, what does he do for work? A reporter. I took a bite of bread. For the City Daily, covers social news. The fork in her hand paused slightly. So, he must be busy. Yeah, works overtime often. I replied, feigning casualness. Why the sudden interest in him? No reason, she denied quickly. I just thought he seemed nice and wanted to thank him for not being mad at me yesterday. I scoffed inwardly. In her past life, Liu Yuran had been full of hostility towards Su Huai, which ultimately led to that accident. It seemed now her murderous intent towards Su Huai had surfaced even earlier than before her rebirth. Over the next few days, I pretended to go to work during the day, but was actually secretly monitoring Liu Yuran. Every day, while I was supposedly out, she would contact her subordinates to handle various matters. Through eavesdropping, I pieced together some information. Liu Yao was taking over territory that originally belonged to her, and she seemed to be waiting for the right moment. Meanwhile, her desire to control me became increasingly apparent. My clothes, diet, and schedule were gradually brought under her control, all in the name of caring. She even started redecorating my apartment, replacing my belongings with items of her choosing. Friday night, I deliberately worked late before coming home. Pushing the door open, the apartment looked completely different. The curtains, sofa covers, and tableware had all been replaced with understated luxury styles, clearly reflecting her taste. You're back. Liu Yuran came up to greet me, taking my bag. Have you eaten? I made. What is all this? I interrupted her, gesturing at the changed living room. She bit her lower lip. Don't you like it? I thought these would suit you better. I like the old ones just fine. I deliberately put on a cold expression. Besides, these look expensive. Where did you get the money? A flicker of panic crossed her eyes. Saved up scholarship money. Liu Yuran. I looked at her sternly. Tell the truth. Her expression gradually changed, shifting from hurt to calm, finally settling into an eerie tranquility. If you don't like it, I'll change it back tomorrow. This submissiveness was somehow more terrifying. In her past life, she had never cared about my preferences. There had to be a reason behind this excessive thoughtfulness now. Late at night, I again pretended to be fast asleep. Sure enough, Lu Yuran quietly got up. This time, she didn't go to the study. Instead, she took out a small notebook from the depths of the wardrobe and wrote something in the moonlight. I risked squinting my eyes open and saw she was writing dates and events, all about me. The earliest entry was dated 3 months before our first meeting. March 12th. Sunny. Saw him at the coffee shop again today. He still orders an Americano with double sugar and likes to chew on his pen cap while reading medical journals. Cute. Must wait a bit longer. The plan can't be rushed. My blood froze. This wasn't just rebirth. Our first meeting was a meticulously designed trap she set. She closed the notebook, murmuring softly to herself, soon, once Lu Yao and those troublesome people are dealt with, we could be together forever. As she turned around, I shut my eyes just in time. She stood by the sofa, gazing at me for a long while, finally leaning down to press a light kiss on my lips. This time, no one could take you away from me. Zhang Jingsheng. I stared at the computer screen, repeatedly watching the footage of Lu Yuran's diary entries I had secretly filmed last night. The entries spanned half a year, detailing my daily habits, workplace, and social circle. Most chillingly, she had even recorded information about my ex-girlfriend. Next to the words "dealt with" was a tiny hand-drawn heart. Psycho, I muttered, yet I couldn't stop scrolling through. The diary also mentioned a place called Nanshan Villa, apparently some kind of Lu family stronghold. In my previous life, I was imprisoned there, left to die. Now, it seemed likely that more secrets were hidden there. My phone vibrated, interrupting my thoughts. Su Huai sent a message. Found it. Lu Corporation recently had 3 shipments of medical equipment pass through customs, but the delivery address is an abandoned warehouse. The customs records have been tampered with. I replied, keep investigating, but don't expose yourself. Putting down the phone, I took a deep breath. It was time to make Lu Yuran show her true colors. I carefully designed a scenario, one that could confirm her identity without raising her suspicion. That evening, I deliberately came home 2 hours later than usual. Pushing the door open, I found the apartment pitch black. Yuran, I called out tentatively. No response. I switched on the lights, finding the living room empty. A note lay on the dining table. Went out to buy something, back soon. Yuran. This wasn't part of my plan. I frowned, just about to call her when the doorbell rang. Outside stood 2 unfamiliar men, dressed in suits, their expressions cold. Mr. Zhang Jingsheng, the man in the lead asked, his voice low. That's me. Who are you? Miss Lu asked us to pick you up. The man stepped aside, gesturing politely. The car is downstairs. My heart pounded. This was an unexpected turn, but also an opportunity. I feigned hesitation. Where's Yuran? Why didn't she come herself? Miss Lu was held up by something urgent, the man stated, his tone leaving no room for argument. She asked us to bring you to her. After a moment's consideration, I nodded in agreement. Following them downstairs, a black Mercedes was parked by the roadside. Before getting in, I discreetly pressed the emergency contact button on my phone. It was set to Su Huai's number. The car headed towards the city center, but halfway there, turned onto a secluded side road. I pretended to be uneasy. Where are we going? Where on earth is Yuran? No one answered. The car finally stopped at the back entrance of a high-end club. I was led into an elevator, going straight to the top floor. The elevator doors opened to reveal a luxurious private room. Lu Yuran sat on the central sofa, dressed in a black gown, her red lips like blood, a stark contrast to her usual innocent image. Several men who looked like bodyguards stood beside her. Across from her sat a man I instantly recognized. Lu Yao, the Lu family's second young master, the man who had murdered Su Huai in my past life. Dr. Zhang has arrived. Lu Yuran saw me, a smile playing on her lips, but her eyes were glacial. Come here. I stood frozen, displaying appropriate shock and confusion. Yuran, what's going on? Who are these people? Lu Yao turned to look me over, sneering contemptuously. So, this is your new toy? Doesn't look like much. Lu Yuran ignored him, beckoning to me with a finger. Don't make me say it twice. I walked over slowly, deliberately letting my hand tremble slightly. Lu Yuran grabbed my wrist, her grip surprisingly strong. Meet my younger brother, Lu Yao. Her voice was cloyingly sweet, yet chilling. Lu Yao, this is Zhang Jingsheng, my boyfriend. Lu Yao interrupted mockingly. Sis, your taste is getting worse and worse. Lu Yuran sneered. At least better than those prostitutes of yours. The tense atmosphere between them confirmed that the Lu family's internal struggle had reached a fever pitch. This was exactly what I needed. Yuran, I don't understand. I continued playing the confused role. Didn't you say you were a student? These people. Shut up. Lu Yuran snapped, then softened her voice. Sit tight and wait until we finish our business. For the next half hour, I was on pins and needles. The Lu siblings discussed goods, channels, and dividends, clearly talking about illegal dealings. Lu Yuran didn't let go of my wrist the entire time, her fingernails practically digging into my flesh. Finally, Lu Yao got up to leave. Before going, he gave me a meaningful look. Sis, remember to clean things up. Father doesn't like outsiders knowing family business. After the door closed, Lu Yuran finally released my hand. I looked down and saw 4 red marks already imprinted on my wrist. Does it hurt? She asked softly, her fingers gently brushing over the marks. I looked up at her, feigning shock and hurt. Who exactly are you? She smiled, the pleased smile of a predator watching its prey struggle. Lu Yuran, the eldest daughter of the Lu Corporation. What disappointed? I shook my head, deliberately letting my voice tremble. Why did you lie to me? Because. She suddenly leaned close, her breath on my face. It's more fun this way. I stood up abruptly, making a move to leave. I'm leaving. This relationship ends here. Sit down. Her voice turned cold instantly. I didn't move. The next second, 2 bodyguards blocked the door. Lu Yuran slowly rose, her high heels making no sound on the carpet. She circled me once, as if admiring a collectible. Zhang Jingsheng, 28 years old, graduated from University Medical School, currently working in surgery at Rena Hospital. She recited the details easily. Lives at Sunshine Garden, Building 7, Apartment 302, H District. Parents run a small restaurant in B City. Ex-girlfriend Lin Yan broke up due to long distance. I appropriately acted shocked. You investigated me earlier than you think, she chuckled lightly. Now you have 2 choices. She held up one finger. 1. Be my obedient boyfriend and comply with all my demands. A second finger went up. 2. I make you, your family, and your friends disappear forever. I remained silent for a long time before asking in a low voice, why me? She paused, seemingly not expecting the question. Then her coldness returned. Because I like your face. The answer was exactly the same as in my past life. But this time, I saw a flicker of something unusual in her eyes. I choose one. I lower my head, hiding the coldness in my eyes. Good boy. She patted my cheek. Now give me a smile. I forced a smile. She nodded, satisfied, and linked her arm through mine. Let's go. I'll show you my world. As we left the club, I noticed a familiar figure. Su Hung, Su Huai's younger brother, an undercover police officer. He was disguised as a waiter and slipped me a note as he brushed past. In the restroom, I opened the note. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., Nanshan Road Cafe. Urgent matter. I flushed the note down the toilet, only to bump into Lu Yuran as I walked out. Took you long enough? She raised an eyebrow. Stomach felt upset. I forced a smile. She stared at me for a few seconds, then suddenly reached out to straighten my collar. Tell me if you're not feeling well from now on, understand? This kind of possessive display was exactly what I needed. I nodded and followed her out. But just as I turned, I saw her glance at the cubicle I had just used, her eyes thoughtful. The next day, Lu Yuran took me to a family gathering. It was called a gathering, but it was actually a secret meeting of the Lu family's core members. As her boyfriend, I was allowed to attend, but I was seated in a corner. The meeting's content shocked me. They were discussing the transport routes for a batch of special goods. From the snippets of conversation, I pieced together that it might be illegal organ trafficking. Partway through, I excused myself to go to the restroom, but I actually intended to record the information I'd heard. Just as I took out my phone, a voice came from behind. "What are you doing?" I froze, turning to see Lu Yuran leaning against the doorframe, a half-smile on her face. Replying to Su Huai's message, I calmly showed her my screen, which indeed displayed my chat with Su Huai. He was asking why I haven't contacted him these past few days. She walked over and glanced at the screen. "Delete him." "What?" I said. "Delete him." She enunciated each word clearly. "All contact methods." Now, I pretended to resist. "He's my best friend." "So what?" she sneered. "I'm your girlfriend now. Isn't that enough?" We were at a standstill for a few seconds, but finally I deleted all of Su Huai's contact information right in front of her. Lu Yuran smiled with satisfaction, unaware that Su Huai and I had already arranged backup contact methods. "Good boy," she kissed my cheek. "Let's go back. We're getting to the part you might find interesting." Back in the meeting room, the discussion had indeed shifted to the medical field. The Lu family was developing a new type of biological agent that required a large amount of experimental materials. "The laboratory at Nanshan Villa will be operational next week," the speaker said, "but we still need at least 20 healthy samples." Lu Yuran suddenly interjected, "I'll handle the samples." Everyone looked at her, including her father, Lu Chung, a middle-aged man whose gaze alone could send shivers down your spine. "You have sources?" Lu Chung asked, his voice hoarse. Lu Yuran smiled. "Of course. But I want complete control of the West City branch in exchange." Lu Yao immediately objected. "Father, I've always been in charge of West City." Father and daughter stared at each other for a long moment before Lu Chung finally nodded. "All right, but the samples must be ready within 3 days." "No problem." Lu Yuran smiled triumphantly, her hand gripping mine tightly under the table. After the meeting ended, Lu Yuran led me away. In the car, she was unusually excited, constantly planning how to take over the West City operations. "Aren't you going to ask me about the samples?" she suddenly asked. I shook my head. "You'll tell me when you want to." She laughed and pinched my cheek, getting more sensible. Then she lowered her voice. "Actually, the samples have been ready for a while, in the basement of Nanshan Villa. I was just waiting for Father to concede control of West City." A chill ran down my spine. Those samples were likely living people. That night, Lu Yuran was in high spirits, even allowing me to go back to my own place for the night. I immediately contacted Su Hung and met him at the agreed-upon coffee shop. "The Lu family is conducting illegal human experiments." I got straight to the point. "There are at least 20 people held in the basement of Nanshan Villa, possibly organ donors or test subjects." Su Hung quickly took notes. "Do you have a specific location?" "Not yet, but Lu Yuran is taking me to Nanshan Villa next week." I handed him a slip of paper. These are the transport routes and times they discussed. Su Hung put away the note, looking at me seriously. "It's too dangerous. Lu Yuran is unpredictable. If she finds out about you..." "I'll be careful," I interrupted him. "By the way, check if the Lu family has recently purchased large quantities of sedatives or immunosuppressants. That would corroborate my intel." Before parting, Su Hung suddenly asked, "Are you okay?" "Did she?" "I'm fine," I said expressionlessly. Compared to getting the evidence, this sacrifice is nothing. Back home, I found the apartment had been thoroughly cleaned and all items rearranged according to someone's preferred order. On the nightstand, there was a new photo frame. Inside was a picture of Lu Yuran and me, clearly photoshopped, as we had never been that intimate in reality. Beside the frame was a note. "Tomorrow morning at 9, I'll pick you up. Wear that dark blue suit. You're Yuran." I picked up the frame. In the photo, Lu Yuran smiled sweetly, her arm intimately wrapped around my neck. And I was looking at her with a blissful expression. "Lunatic," I muttered under my breath, but carefully placed the frame back in its spot. While showering, I discovered a new set of high-end toiletries in the bathroom, all men's products, but with the exact same scent as Lu Yuran's. She was marking me in her own way, like a wild animal marking its territory with scent. Lying in bed, I pondered my next move. Lu Yuran had revealed her identity earlier than in my past life, and brought me into the Liu family's inner circle sooner too. This was an opportunity, but the risks were also greater. My phone suddenly vibrated. It was a message from Liu Yuran. Can't sleep. Miss you. I didn't reply. A few minutes later, another message. Don't keep me waiting too long, Dr. Zhang. This morbid attachment was creepy, yet precisely what I needed. I replied, Good night, Yuran. After sending the message, I immediately deleted the chat history and checked the room for listening devices. Only after confirming it was safe did I allow myself a cold smirk. The game has just begun, Liu Yuran. This time, I'll let you taste what it's like to be played. Liu Yao's provocation came sooner than expected. At the family dinner, the Liu family's second young master walked towards me, carrying 2 glasses of champagne, a fake smile plastered on his face. Dr. Zhang, I've heard so much about you, he said, handing 1 glass to me. My sister has never brought a man home before. You're the first. I took the glass, sharply noticing the subtle flick of his pinky finger against the rim. A flashback from my past life. The same scene, the same method. The drink contained a lethal dose of pufferfish toxin. Thank you, I said, pretending to be oblivious, but as I raised the glass, I accidentally bumped into a passing waiter. The champagne spilled onto Liu Yao's expensive custom-made suit. His expression instantly darkened. Sorry. I quickly took a napkin to wipe it for him, taking the opportunity to slip the miniature recording device hidden in my cuff into his inner pocket. Liu Yao shoved me away roughly. Useless. Do you know how much this suit costs? Liu Yao. Liu Yuran's voice came from behind, cold as ice. Show some respect to my guest. She wore a dark red gown today, like solidified blood, breathtakingly beautiful. She stood beside me, her fingers resting lightly on the small of my back in a possessive gesture. Sister's taste is getting worse and worse, Liu Yao sneered. Does this kind of trash deserve to enter the Liu family's home? Liu Yuran smiled, a smile that sent chills down my spine. At least he's better than those prostitutes of yours. That little model last week, didn't she just die in a hotel from a drug overdose? A flicker of panic crossed Liu Yao's eyes. I secretly made a mental note of this information. In my past life, Su Huai was killed while investigating the strange death of a model. After the dinner party, Liu Yuran showed me around the mansion. As we reached the second-floor corridor, she suddenly pushed me into a dark room, pressing her finger to my lips. Don't make a sound. Footsteps approached outside the door. Liu Yao was speaking on the phone in a low voice. Change of plans. The kid didn't drink it. Do it directly. Yes, tonight. After the footsteps faded away, Liu Yuran released her hand, her eyes gleaming with a dangerous light. My brother wants to kill you. Why? I feigned shock. Because you're mine. She caressed my face. In the Liu family, that's both a protective talisman and a death warrant. There was only a dim yellow wall lamp in the dark room, making her silhouette appear exceptionally sharp in the interplay of light and shadow. I suddenly realized this was a perfect opportunity. Liu Yuran was emotionally agitated now, her defenses at their weakest. Yuran, I asked softly, are you really just using me to provoke Liu Yao? Her pupils contracted slightly. Who told you? Nobody told me. I moved closer slowly, but I want to know, what exactly am I in your eyes? We were close enough to feel each other's breath. The faint scent of her perfume, mixed with the smell of alcohol, was intoxicating. In my past life, I had been intoxicated by this scent countless times, until it became an omen of my death. You are my most perfect creation, she said suddenly, her fingers tracing my collarbone. From selecting the material to the carving, every step was meticulously planned. Her words were like a bucket of ice water poured over me. She really had planned everything involving me from the very beginning. Then, I suppressed my anger, my voice remaining gentle. Are you satisfied with your creation? She didn't answer, but suddenly kissed my lips. The kiss was aggressive, like marking territory. I responded, but my hand stealthily reached for her waist, where a small silver pistol was tucked. Just as I was about to touch the gun's grip, she grabbed my wrist and pinned it against the wall, a cold smile playing on her lips. Want to play with guns? I'll teach you. She guided my hand to draw the gun, loaded it, and aimed it outside the door, where Liu Yao was sneakily passing by. See, how easy, she whispered in my ear, her fingers covering mine, pressing down on the trigger together. Just a gentle press. I abruptly turned the muzzle towards the floor, the gunshot deafening in the enclosed space. Lu Yao cried out in alarm and fled. What a pity! Lu Yuran released my hand, seeming both disappointed and satisfied with my choice. A soft heart won't let you live long, Dr. Jean. It was early morning when I returned to my apartment. Lu Yuran had uncharacteristically allowed me to go home alone, staying behind to deal with the aftermath of the shooting. I immediately contacted Su Hung and sent him the recording of Lu Yao's phone call from the recorder. This recording is enough to apply for a wiretap warrant. Su Hung sounded excited. By the way, there's a new development in the model's case. It's definitely related to Lu Yao. After hanging up, I found an envelope on my desk. Lu Yuran must have been here. Inside the envelope was a photograph. A picture of Su Huai meeting with a drug dealer, dated the day before his death. On the back was written, "Curiosity killed the cat." My hands trembled uncontrollably. This was a threat and also a test. How much did she know? The next morning, I was startled awake by rough knocking on the door. Opening it revealed two police officers who asked me to cooperate with the investigation into last night's shooting. In the interrogation room, the Lu family's lawyer was already waiting. The entire process felt like a rehearsed play, my testimony carefully crafted into an accidental firearm discharge. When I left the police station, Lu Yuran was leaning against her sports car, waiting for me, sunglasses hiding her eyes. Get in. The atmosphere inside the car was tense. After driving through 3 blocks, she suddenly spoke. Why didn't you tell me about your relationship with Su Huai? My heart skipped a beat. What relationship? His investigation into Lu Yao wasn't a coincidence, was it? She took off her sunglasses, her gaze sharp as a knife. You arranged for him to get close to my brother. I clenched my fists, my mind racing for a countermeasure. She knew more than I thought, but hadn't reached the core yet. Su Huai is my friend. I decided on a half-truth. He is indeed investigating the model's death, but I wasn't involved. Lu Yuran slammed on the brakes, the tires screeching harshly. She turned and grabbed my throat, the pressure just enough to choke me without making me pass out. Last chance, tell the truth. I wanted to protect you. I managed to say, Lu Yao is in danger. Su Huai found out he's cooperating with Southeast Asian drug lords. Wants to replace you in the Lu family. This half-truth worked. She released her grip, looking thoughtful. So you did it for me. What else? I rubbed my neck, smiling bitterly. What do you think I'm after? Your money or your life? She stared at me for a long time, then suddenly laughed. You know what? I almost believed you. She started the car. But it's a beautiful lie. I've decided to keep it for now. We didn't speak for the rest of the drive. The car finally stopped in front of an unfamiliar villa. Lu Yuran led me inside, through a long corridor, to a room resembling a medical bay. Take off your clothes, she commanded. As I stood, bare-chested before her, she put on medical gloves and took out a syringe. This is a nano-tracker. It will merge with your blood. Wherever you go, I'll be able to find you. The moment the needle pierced my skin, I realized the game had escalated. She was no longer satisfied with psychological control. Now she wanted to physically mark me. Don't worry, she lightly kissed the injection site. Just a precaution. After all, her fingers traced across my chest. I'm not done playing yet. After the injection, she gave me a tour of the villa. It was much larger than it appeared from the outside. The basement level even had a fully equipped operating room. My private clinic, she introduced proudly. I've saved many people here and also dealt with a lot of trouble. Finally, we reached the master bedroom. She pushed me onto the bed and took a pair of special handcuffs from a drawer. Starting tonight, you sleep here. As the cold metal clamped around my wrists, I realized this wasn't just about control, but a twisted form of intimacy. She wanted complete command over me, even in my sleep. Late at night, after making sure Lu Yuran was fast asleep, I carefully tested the strength of the handcuffs. Just as I was trying to pick the lock, she suddenly rolled over, pinning me down, her lips brushing against my earlobe. Move again, and I'll mail your finger to Su Huai. I froze. She chuckled softly in the darkness, her fingers intertwining with mine. Be good. Sleep. In this threatening, yet strangely intimate position, I somehow drifted off to sleep. In my dream, Lu Yuran and I stood on opposite sides of a cliff, a bottomless canyon between us, yet we clung tightly to the same rope. If either of us let go, we'd both be doomed. A shrill alarm shattered the pre-dawn silence. I jolted awake to find the handcuffs undone and Lou Yuran gone. Outside, the sky was still dark. The villa was pitch black, except for an eerie red glow emanating from the operating room at the end of the corridor. I got out of bed, quietly, my bare feet stepping onto the cold marble floor. The alarm suddenly stopped, replaced by faint voices. Following the sound, I reached the outside of the operating room and peered through a gap in the blinds. Lou Yuran, dressed in scrubs, was talking to an old man with white hair. On the operating table lay an unconscious young man, connected to various monitoring devices. The quality of this batch of samples is too poor, the old man. Shaking his head, the liver fibrosis has reached stage 4. It absolutely doesn't meet the requirements. Lou Yuran frowned, reviewing the data. Give me one more week. I can reverse this process. Miss, this isn't an experiment. It's a commercial order. The old man lowered his voice. The client has paid in full. If we still can't deliver a healthy liver by next week, I know the consequences. Lou Yuran cut him off coldly. Tell the client, I'll compensate for the delay according to the contract. After the old man left, Lou Yuran stood alone before the operating table. Suddenly, she violently smashed the instrument tray beside her. She panted raggedly, then took out her phone and dialed a number. Prepare Plan B. Match a suitable organ from the existing inventory. No, don't worry about the donor's survival rate. Hanging up, she leaned over to examine the unconscious man, her movements surprisingly gentle. Sorry, but your death will save more people. The scene made my stomach clench. In my past life, I only knew the Lou family dealt in organs, but I never knew Lou Yuran was personally involved. What was more terrifying was that she seemed to genuinely believe she was saving lives. I took a step back, but accidentally knocked over a vase in the corridor. The sharp shattering sound pierced the silence. The operating room door burst open, and Lou Yuran rushed out, scalpel in hand. She visibly froze when she saw me. What are you doing here? I heard an alarm. I feigned grogginess, as if just waking up. What happened? She studied me for a few seconds, then suddenly smiled. Bad dream. Putting the scalpel away, she took my hand. Come on, let me show you something interesting. I thought she'd take me to the operating room, but instead, she led me to a hidden room on the second basement level. After she entered a passcode, a metal door slid open, revealing an overwhelming sight. An entire wall was covered in monitors, displaying real-time footage from every corner of the villa, including the corridor outside the operating room, where I'd just been standing. She'd known all along I was watching. Welcome to the control center. She whispered, kissing the shell of my ear. Now you're officially my accomplice. A screen in the corner switched to the operating room. The unconscious man was being injected with some drug, his vital signs deteriorating rapidly. I forced myself to stay calm, but my fingers trembled uncontrollably. Lou Yuran squeezed my hand. The first time is always difficult to accept. She pointed to another screen displaying a patient file. Look, this patient is only 12. Congenital liver failure. Without a transplant. So you kidnap healthy people and take their organs? I couldn't stop myself from demanding. Naive, she scoffed. These donors are death row inmates or terminally ill patients. I give their families enough money to live comfortably for 3 generations. She pulled up another set of data, and of those who receive the transplants, 80% live longer than 10 years. It's a win-win. Her twisted logic nauseated me, but I couldn't let it show. Instead, I pretended to consider it. Well, if it's voluntary. Dr. Zhang is finally seeing sense. She patted my cheek, satisfied. Now, do me a favor. She led me back to the operating room. The man had been wheeled away, leaving only the empty operating table and a set of surgical instruments. There's an important surgery next week. She handed me a set of surgical scrubs. I need an assistant. I had been a surgeon in my past life, so it was a reasonable request. But participating in the Liu family's business meant crossing a line I couldn't uncross. Seeing me hesitate, Lou Yuran narrowed her eyes. Unwilling. I need to review the procedures, I replied cautiously. It's been a long time since I was last in surgery. This answer seemed to please her. Dr. Zhang is most captivating when he's serious. She turned on a display screen. Here are the recordings of the last 10 surgeries. Study them well. For the next few days, I was under house arrest in the villa, studying those surgery recordings. On the surface, I was studying, but in reality, I was gathering evidence. Every surgery had detailed records, including information on the donors and recipients. I secretly took photos of key pages with my phone, but how to get them out was a problem. Liu Yuran had confiscated my communication devices, and all signals were blocked in the villa. On the night of the 5th day, Liu Yuran suddenly took me out. The car headed towards a high-end hotel downtown. The elevator went straight to the penthouse suite. There's an important client tonight. She adjusted my tie. Talk less, observe more. There were already 7 or 8 people in the suite. Among them, I immediately recognized Lin Guodong, the chairman of Lin Pharmaceuticals, a renowned philanthropist in the pharmaceutical industry. Standing beside him was a pale-faced teenager, around 15 or 16 years old. Miss Liu, Lin Guodong greeted her warmly. Is this the surgical expert you mentioned? Liu Yuran smiled and nodded. Dr. Zhang Jingsheng, my fiancée. This sudden title almost made me choke. Lin Guodong, however, showed a look of sudden understanding. No wonder Miss Liu has been looking so radiant lately. After the pleasantries, the conversation turned to the main topic. Lin Guodong's son needed a heart transplant, but his blood type was rare, and they hadn't been able to find a matching donor. I've checked the database. There are 3 potential donors. Liu Yuran opened her tablet. 2 of them are overseas, and the transport risk is relatively high. The third one, she paused, is domestic, but there are some legal obstacles. Lin Guodong smiled knowingly. Money is not an issue. It's not about money. Liu Yuran lowered her voice. The donor is the illegitimate son of a high-ranking official, though the father doesn't know this son exists. The deal was struck amidst veiled implications. As we were leaving, Lin Guodong slipped me a business card. Miss Liu always has excellent judgment. I look forward to cooperating with Dr. Zhang. In the car on the way back, Liu Yuran was unusually quiet. Not until we reached the villa entrance did she finally speak. Find it disgusting? A little, I answered honestly. That boy looked seriously ill, but his father talked about him like an object needing repair. Liu Yuran chuckled lightly. Everyone is equal before death. Lin Guodong's son will live, and the illegitimate son who doesn't even know his own origins will die. That's how the world works. Is that what you believe? I couldn't help asking. If what I've seen. She looked out the window. The first time I watched my father do business was when I was 12. The man kneeling and begging for mercy was my classmate's father. The next day, my classmate transferred schools and was never seen again. She turned back, her eyes cold. The world has no sympathy for the weak, Zhang Jingsheng. Either control the rules or be crushed by them. In that moment, I saw the fear and anger of that 12-year-old girl in her eyes. Liu Yuran wasn't born a devil, but a victim consumed by darkness who chose to embrace it. This realization made my chest tighten. The flames of revenge still burned, but mixed within them was an indescribable emotion. Pity? Understanding? Or, you'll be the lead surgeon for next week's operation, she said suddenly. I will assist you. Why me? Because she leaned in, her lips almost touching mine. I want to see you fall. That night, I was handcuffed to the bed again, but this time Liu Yuran didn't lie down. Instead, she stood by the window, talking on the phone. Yes, move everything to base 2. No, don't notify Liu Yao's people. Hanging up the phone, she noticed I was awake and walked over, gently stroking my face. Go back to sleep. I'll take you somewhere tomorrow. I pretended to be groggy. Where? Nanshan Villa. Her smile looked exceptionally gentle under the moonlight. Our marital home. The term sent a chill down my spine. In my past life, Nanshan Villa was where I died. Now, she wanted to use it as a cage of love. After her breathing evened out, I carefully tested my wrists. The handcuffs were a bit looser than last night. Perhaps she did it deliberately, wanted to test me. I slowly slipped free and tiptoed to her dressing table. Her phone had a fingerprint lock, but I had seen the position of her finger when she unlocked it. I successfully unlocked it using her thumb and quickly scanned her recent calls and emails. An encrypted file caught my attention, titled Plan B Purification Operation. Opening it, I saw the shocking contents. The Liu family was preparing to destroy all records of illegal medical facilities scheduled for 3 days later. This meant the evidence I had gathered would soon vanish. Even more terrifying, the file mentioned dealing with all unstable elements, including experimental residuals, the imprisoned donors. I had to act immediately. After putting the phone back, I slipped out of the bedroom and went to the basement control room. Fortunately, Liu Yuren hadn't changed the password. I inserted the USB drive I had prepared and started downloading all the surgical records and surveillance videos. The progress bar moved slowly. My heart was pounding as if it would burst from my chest. Suddenly, footsteps echoed from the hallway. I quickly pulled out the USB drive and hid beneath the console. The door opened, and Liu Yuren's voice sounded. "I know you're here, Zhang Jingsheng." I held my breath. "Come out," she sighed. "Let's talk." After a moment's hesitation, I stood up. She was wearing a nightgown, her long hair loose, looking exceptionally tired. "Give it to me." She held out her hand. I handed over the USB drive. Without looking at it, she slipped it into her pocket. "Why? Those people are innocent." I looked directly into her eyes. "There are no innocents." She shook her head. "Everyone who survives steps on corpses. That's the truth of survival." "What about you?" I retorted. "How many corpses are beneath your feet?" The question seemed to sting her. She was silent for a long time, then suddenly laughed. "Countless." But soon, she took out a small remote control. "You'll become one of them too." She pressed the button, and all the screens in the control room lit up simultaneously, showing views of the villa from different angles. Every exit was blocked by armed personnel. "I gave you everything," she said softly, "and you chose betrayal. What you gave wasn't love, it was imprisonment." I slowly backed away. True love doesn't demand the other person give up themselves. "Naive," she sneered. "Love is possession, it's devouring, it's making the other person a part of oneself." She raised a pistol. "Since you won't willingly become mine, then stay as a corpse." The muzzle aimed at my heart. Just at that critical moment, the power to the entire villa suddenly cut out, plunging everything into darkness. Police sirens and noisy footsteps could be heard in the distance. Liu Yuren cursed under her breath and grabbed my arm. "Come with me." She led me through a hidden passage to the garage. The sports car's engine roared as we sped into the night. In the rearview mirror, police cars and black SUVs had already surrounded the villa. "Did you call the police?" Her voice was icy. "No, that much was true. It was likely Su Hung who took action after noticing something was wrong." Liu Yuran wrenched the steering wheel, and the car turned onto a remote mountain road. "Whoever did this, they're dead." The car finally stopped at the edge of a cliff. She killed the engine and turned to me. "Last chance, Zhang Jingsheng. Join me, or die here." In the moonlight, her silhouette was sharp as a knife. Her eyes held a mixture of vulnerability and madness I had never seen before. I suddenly realized it wasn't a threat, but a cry for help. This woman consumed by darkness was seeking salvation in the only way she knew how. I choose the third option. I slowly moved closer to her, to take you away from all this. She froze, the muzzle of her gun lowering slightly. "What?" "I know about the secret exit of the Nanshan villa, and I know Liu Yao has a boat ready at the docks." I gripped the hand holding her gun. "Let's leave together, get away from this twisted family." It was a dangerous lie. My real intention was to lead her to the police ambush point. But when a flicker of hope sparked in her eyes, a sharp pain pierced my chest. "Why?" Her voice trembled. "After everything I've done." "Because I believe." I gently stroked her face. "The 12-year-old girl is still inside you, and she deserves to be saved." These words were like a key, unlocking the tightly shut doors of her heart. The gun dropped to the car floor. She threw herself into my arms like a lost child, finally finding her way home. "Take me away. Please." I held her tight, pressing the tracker on my watch from an angle she couldn't see. The police would track this location. Everything was about to end. But when I looked in the rearview mirror, I didn't see police cars, but several black Mercedes-Benz S. The Liu family had caught up. Too late. Liu Yuran sat up straight, wiping away her tears. "They won't let me leave." The lead car was closing in. The window rolled down. revealing Lu Yao's ferocious face and a gun in his hand. Jump! Lu Yuren shoved me hard, simultaneously stomping on the accelerator. The sports car shot towards a cliff like an arrow loosed from a bow. At the last second, she wrenched the steering wheel. The immense inertia threw us out of the doors, while the sports car and the lead pursuer's car plunged into the abyss together. Amidst the fiery explosion, I held on to Lu Yuran as we tumbled down the slope. Sharp rocks and branches tore at our skin, but we survived. Halfway down the mountain, we collapsed in the grass, covered in injuries but miraculously alive. Lu Yuran suddenly burst into laughter, a sound laced with madness and relief. "We're free." She pressed her lips to mine. The kiss tasted of blood and tears, yet it felt more real than any before. After hovering on the edge of death, all the pretenses and calculations seemed utterly ridiculous. More police sirens wailed in the distance. Lu Yuran looked up sharply. "We have to go." She pulled me deeper into the woods. Not noticing the tracker, I discreetly dropped. This cat-and-mouse game was nearing its end, and I was both the prey and the hunter. Morning mist shrouded the abandoned factory as we hid among rusted machinery. Lu Yuran leaned against my shoulder, her breathing shallow. Last night's escape had drained her last reserves of strength. She had finally fallen into a troubled sleep. I shifted carefully and pulled her phone from my pocket. I'd picked it up after it slipped from her pocket during the chaos of the crash. The screen was cracked, but still functional, and the fingerprint lock still worked. The latest email in her inbox made my blood run cold. "Miss, we've confirmed the leak is Li Zhe." He copied all the experimental data and was preparing to hand it over to the police. "Following your instructions, we planted a bomb in his car. Mission accomplished. Sent at 5 o'clock this morning." Li Chevauchetet, her childhood friend, the one who always looked at Lu Yuran with those ambiguous eyes. I continued scrolling through the emails, discovering more startling content. Plan B proceeding smoothly, 80% of inventory transferred. Lu Yao's people are tracking your whereabouts. Advise proceeding to the safe house immediately. R. The old master has discovered your and Mr. Zhang's disappearance. Orders are to bring you back, dead or alive. Please be extremely careful. K. Most unsettling was an encrypted email, the subject line containing only 2 words, "Purge." I tried to open it, but was prompted for iris authentication. "Found something interesting?" Lu Yaoran's voice made me nearly drop the phone. She had woken up sometime without me noticing and was now watching me coldly. "Li Zhe is dead." I lay my cards on the table. "Did you kill him?" She raised an eyebrow, reaching for her phone. "A traitor's end." After checking the phone's contents, she sneered, "It seems father is more impatient than I thought." "What's your plan?" "To take back what's mine." She stood up, brushing the dust off her clothes. "Then leave this country." "We," I corrected her. "You just said we." She paused for a moment, then smiled. "Right." But the smile didn't reach her eyes. The fog gradually dispersed. Lu Yaoran led me through the factory's back door to a hidden path. An inconspicuous gray sedan was parked there, the key hidden behind the tire. Li Zhe prepared it. She started the car. He was always thoughtful. That sentence sent shivers down my spine. She could speak so calmly about someone she had just ordered killed. What was more terrifying was that I found myself getting used to this coldness. For the sake of revenge, was I becoming a monster too? The car drove towards the suburbs, eventually stopping in front of an ordinary house. Lu Yaoran opened the door familiarly and went inside. The interior, however, was unexpectedly sophisticated. Modern surveillance equipment, weapon racks, even a simple operating table. "Safe house," she introduced briefly. Li Zhe didn't know about this place. She took a hard drive from a hidden compartment and plugged it into a computer. A series of files and photos immediately appeared on the screen, all about me, from my university days to the present, even including pictures of me with my ex-girlfriend. "You've been monitoring me?" Although I already knew this, seeing the proof firsthand still sent a chill down my spine. "Not monitoring," she corrected. "Protecting." She clicked on a video showing Lu Yao's men attempting to plant a bomb in my car. "I stopped 3 assassination attempts against you." "Why?" She was silent for a moment, then suddenly pulled up another set of photos. A young Lu Yaoran standing in a laboratory, surrounded by various medical equipment. "When I was 15, Father made me participate in my first project. Her voice was terrifyingly calm. A business rival who refused to cooperate. We needed him to sign some documents. The photos switched to an image of the man tied to an operating table, followed by a close-up of Lu Yaoran holding a syringe. I froze. Dropping the syringe, she continued. Father slapped me, saying the Lu family couldn't afford weakness. She clicked on the last photo. The man had signed, but his right hand was missing 3 fingers. I understood 2 things that day. She turned to me. First, this world operates on the law of the jungle. Second, her gaze softened slightly. I didn't want to become a monster like my father. But you did become him. I couldn't help saying, no. She shook her head. I'm more efficient, more precise than him. I only take what's necessary, and I provide sufficient compensation to the donors' families. She brought up some data. My surgical success rate is 97%, far higher than regular hospitals. This twisted logic left me speechless. What was more terrifying was that there was indeed some kind of sick moral code within it. She didn't kill for the sake of killing, but rather viewed everything as a calculable transaction. Zhang Jingsheng. She suddenly moved closer. If I gave you the choice, would you leave with me? The question came suddenly. I looked at her expectant eyes, realizing this was a crucial turning point. My answer would determine everything that followed. I chose a half-truth, but I have conditions. What conditions? No more killing, no more harming the innocent. I took her hand. We can start over, away from all this. Her eyes lit up, like a child who had received a promise. Really? Really, I smiled, but inwardly, I was calculating the time it would take for the police to surround this place. Su Heng should have already traced the signal from my watch. Lu Yuren suddenly threw herself into my arms, holding me tightly. I've always dreamed of this day. Her voice trembled with excitement. Did you know? I've already prepared new identities, funds, even a small clinic. She excitedly showed me the files on her computer, planning our new life. Looking at her sparkling eyes, I felt a pang in my chest. This woman, whose hands were stained with blood, now seemed like a young girl dreaming of the future. We need to leave the country first. She pulled up a map. Then, get plastic surgery on the black market, completely change our appearances. Her plan was terrifyingly detailed, clearly long prepared. What shocked me more was that she had actually considered giving everything up, power, wealth, even her identity, just to leave with me. Yuran, I asked softly, why me? She stopped what she was doing and seriously considered the question. Because you're the only one who saw through my disguise but was still willing to smile at me. Her answer caught me off guard. In my memories from my past life, Lu Yuran was cold and ruthless, treating me as an insignificant plaything. But the woman before me now seemed to genuinely care about me. Just as I was lost in confusion, the computer suddenly sounded an alarm. Someone had triggered the perimeter sensors. Lu Yuren's expression changed instantly. She quickly shut down the system. We've been found. She retrieved 2 handguns from a hidden compartment, handed one to me. Know how to use it? I nodded. As a surgeon in my past life, I had indeed received basic firearms training. Listen, she stared intently at the door. If it's Lu Yao's men, aim for the head. They'll be wearing bulletproof vests. The footsteps grew closer. Lu Yuran signaled for me to take cover. The instant the door was kicked open, gunshots rang out, but not from outside the door, but from behind me. Lu Yuran had fired, hitting the first intruder precisely between the eyes. Then the second, the third. Her marksmanship was astonishingly fast, each shot aimed straight for a vital spot. When the 6th attacker fell, it finally grew quiet outside the door. Lu Yuran cautiously approached the doorway. Suddenly her face changed drastically. Quick, run! The back door. We had just rushed into the backyard when a massive explosion sounded from the front door. The heat wave knocked us to the ground. Lu Yuren's arm was cut by shrapnel, bleeding profusely. Father sent an elite team. She gritted her teeth, tearing off her sleeve to bandage the wound. They'll flatten this place if they have to, just to kill me. Why? You're his daughter. In a Lu family, there's no kinship, only interests. She pulled me, running towards the back mountain. I know too many secrets, and now I've betrayed him. We plunged into the mountain forest, the sound of pursuing footsteps behind us, sometimes distant, sometimes near. Blood kept seeping from Lu Yuren's wound, her face growing paler and paler. You go on ahead. She stopped abruptly, handing me a key. Follow this path to the end. There's a motorcycle. The key is for a safe deposit box at a Swiss bank. Everything I've prepared for you is inside. No, I refused. If we're going, we go together. Fool. She smiled, that familiar, condescending smile. I just need a rest for a bit. I'll catch up. I knew she was lying. Worse, I was lying too. The police should have already surrounded this area. She had no way out. I'll carry you. I crouched down. Get on. She hesitated for a moment, then finally climbed onto my back. Her body was startlingly light, like a feather that could be blown away by the wind at any moment. We struggled forward. The pursuers behind us seemed to have temporarily lost our trail. Lu Yuren whispered in my ear, Zhang Jingsheng, if we make it out of this alive, I really want to start over. Her words stabbed my heart like a knife. Should I tell her the truth? Tell her the police could show up at any moment, that our escape was futile? Just then, there was a sound from the bushes ahead. I froze, watching as fully armed SWAT officers surrounded us from all directions. Drop your weapons. Hands above your heads. Lu Yuren chuckled softly on my back. Looks like our romantic escape is over. She slowly raised her hands. But getting this far with you, I'm happy. The SWAT officers quickly separated us. Lu Yuren was forced to the ground and handcuffed. As she was led away, she glanced back at me one last time, an enigmatic smile playing on her lips. Mr. Zhang, a familiar voice called out. Su Heng, wearing a bulletproof vest, walked over. Are you all right? How'd you find this place? I feigned surprise. Your watch's signal. He patted my shoulder. Good job. The undercover operation was a success. Watching Lu Yuren's back as she was pushed into the police car, I suddenly felt an emptiness. This revenge was supposed to bring me satisfaction. So why did I feel so lost? Do we have all the evidence? I asked Su Heng. More than that, he said excitedly. We raided the Nanshan villa, rescued 12 imprisoned donors, and seized a large amount of criminal evidence. He lowered his voice, enough to uproot the Lu family completely. I nodded mechanically, my thoughts drifting to the computer in the safe house, the new life plan Lu Yuren had prepared for us. Did it hold her last shred of humanity? By the way, Su Heng added abruptly, Lu Yao is dead. There was an explosion at the docks this morning. He and 3 of his trusted men died instantly. The news shocked me. Who did it? Not clear. Su Heng shook his head. But Lu Yuren has a perfect alibi. She was with you at the time. The police car's siren faded into the distance, carrying away a heinous criminal, and also the girl who dreamed of running away with me. Standing in the morning light, I suddenly wasn't sure if I was the hunter or just another prey toyed with by fate. The interrogation room lights were harsh and cold. I sat in front of the one-way mirror, watching Lu Yuren on the other side. She wore an orange prison jumpsuit, shackled at the wrists and ankles, yet still maintained that inherent grace. She refuses to say anything. Su Heng handed me a cup of coffee. She specifically asked to see you. Does she know I'm undercover? Not sure. Su Heng frowned. But she definitely knows a lot of inside information, including details from within the police force. I took a deep breath and pushed open the door to the interrogation room. Lu Yuren looked up at me, a flicker of light in her eyes that quickly vanished, returning to calm. Officer Zhang. She deliberately used that address. Or should I continue calling you Dr. Zhang? As you like. I sat down opposite her. I hear you wanted to see me. I want to know, she leaned forward slightly. That day in the mountains, was there ever a moment you actually thought about leaving with me? The direct question caught me off guard. My first instinct was to lie, but facing her all-seeing gaze, I chose silence. She smiled, a smile both sad and understanding. I see. You ran. I finally spoke. Turn yourself in. Confess about your father and the Lu family's criminal network. You can fight for a reduced sentence. Reduced sentence? She chuckled softly. Zhang Jingsheng, do you know how much blood is on my hands? The death penalty is the only ending. Then why did you want to see me? She was silent for a long time, then suddenly said, I'm pregnant. The words exploded in my mind like a bomb. I stared wide-eyed at her flat abdomen, incredulous. Confirmed 2 weeks ago, she said calmly. Calculating the time, it should be from that night at the villa. My thoughts instantly flashed back to that night, locked in handcuffs, the remembered sensations becoming incredibly clear. An indescribable emotion churned in my chest. Anger? Fear? Or, what do you want? My voice was hoarse. It's not what you think. She shook her head. I won't use the child to threaten you. In fact, I've already applied for a medical abortion. What? This world doesn't need another Lou Uran. She caressed her abdomen, her eyes gentle yet resolute. I've already asked the doctor to prepare the medication. Tomorrow I will. No, I shot up, the chair scraping harshly against the floor. You don't have a right. Not my child. I regretted the words the moment they left my mouth. A flicker of triumph flashed in Lou Uran's eyes before she regained her composure. So you do care. I sat back down, burying my head in my hands. This conversation had completely spun out of control. She was leading me by the nose, as always. Listen, I try to calm myself. If what you're saying is true, please at least wait until the DNA test confirms it before making a decision. And then what? She retorted. Let the child be born in prison, or hand them over to some foster family, only for them to grow up and find out their mother was a death row inmate. I was speechless. Every word she spoke stabbed precisely into my most vulnerable points like a knife. Actually, she suddenly changed the subject. I knew you were undercover long ago. I snapped my head up. When? From the night you accidentally saved me. She smiled. Su Heng's disguise was too clumsy. I recognized him as a cop immediately. Then why did I still play along with you? She chuckled lightly. Because I was curious how far you would go. Her gaze grew complex. I didn't expect. You make me fall for you. Were those words true or false? I stared into her eyes, trying to find a trace of deceit, but only saw frankness. Did you know, she continued, I could have killed you in the mountains. There were still 3 bullets in that gun. Why didn't you? Because I saw your hesitation, she said softly. In that moment, you weren't a cop, not an avenger, just Zhang Jingsheng. The interrogation room door suddenly opened, and Su Heng walked in. Time's up. Lou Yuran stood up, shackles clanking. Before leaving, she turned back to look at me one last time. Whether you believe it or not, every word I said to you was true. She was taken away, leaving me alone to face a head full of questions and confused emotions. Was the pregnancy real? Did she really know my identity all along? Most importantly, what did her last words mean? Su Heng patted my shoulder. Don't be fooled by her. The prison doctor examined her. She's not pregnant. Are you sure? Absolutely certain. He handed me a medical report. Typical prisoner mentality, trying to gain sympathy with these kinds of tricks. Normally, I should have felt relieved, but deep down a strange sense of disappointment surfaced. I shook my head, suppressing this absurd emotion. By the way, Su Heng added, Liu Cheng committed suicide in the detention center last night. Bit his tongue to death. Before dying, he left a letter specifically addressed to Lou Yuran. The letter's contents? Unclear. It used special ink. The tech department is working on deciphering it. Su Heng lowered his voice, but while searching Liu Cheng's office, we found this. He handed me an old-fashioned USB drive. After inserting it into the computer, there was only one video file inside, dated 15 years ago. The video began to play. On screen were a much younger Liu Cheng and a man in a white lab coat. They stood in a place resembling a laboratory. Strapped to an operating table in the center was a little girl, a young Lou Yuran. Commencing the 7th memory implantation experiment, the man in the white coat said. Content for this implantation, memory of a 12th birthday party. Liu Cheng nodded coldly. Ensure complete overwriting of the original memories. I need her absolute loyalty. The following scenes made my stomach churn. They injected Lou Yuran with some kind of drug, then forcefully implanted false memories using VR equipment. The little girl struggled and screamed in pain, finally falling unconscious. The video ended with Liu Cheng's satisfied smile. Perfect. From today onwards, she will believe she is the pride of the Liu family, willing to sacrifice everything for it. I sat stunned in the chair, countless fragments flashing through my mind. Lu Yurin's occasional contradictory behavior, her incorrect memories of certain events, even that twisted yet pure attachment she had towards me. This explains a lot. Su Hung broke the silence. The coroner said there's a trace of a microchip implant on the back of her neck. It was probably used to control her. She's a victim, I murmured. And a perpetrator, Su Hung corrected. Regardless of the reasons, she did commit those crimes. But the nature of it was completely different now. If Lu Yurin's entire personality was a fabricated tool, then where was the real her? The next morning, I was jolted awake by an urgent phone call. Su Hang's voice was unusually tense. Lu Yuran has escaped from prison. What? How is that possible? She attacked the prison doctor last night and stole the keys, Su Hung explained quickly. Security footage last saw her heading towards the docks. I immediately drove towards the docks, the video content replaying constantly in my mind on the way. If Lu Yuran had seen that letter, known the truth. The docks were already cordoned off by the police. Su Hung came up to meet me, found bloodstains. She must be injured. We followed the blood trail to an abandoned warehouse. Pushing the door open, the sight before me made my breath catch. Lu Yuran was slumped against the corner, a dagger plunged into her chest, a large pool of blood spreading beneath her. Her face was pale as paper, but when she saw me, a faint smile touched her lips. "You're here." Her voice was barely a whisper. "I knew. You'd be the first one to find me." "Ambulance!" I yelled at Su Hung, then knelt beside Lu Yuran to check her injuries. The dagger had pierced her lung. The situation was critical. "It's useless." She gripped my hand, this time. "It's really goodbye." "Why did you do this?" My voice trembled. "We just found proof you were being controlled. You could get a reduced sentence." She shook her head. "Zhang Jingsheng, I never had a choice in my life." She struggled to pull a letter from her pocket. Father's letter. He confessed everything. The writing on the letter was blurred by bloodstains, but the crucial parts were still clear. Lu Yuran was not Lu Cheng's biological daughter, but a test subject chosen from an orphanage. All her memories of family were implanted falsehoods. I finally understand why I always dreamed of an amusement park I'd never been to. She gave a bitter smile, coughing blood. That must be my real memory. Ambulance sirens wailed in the distance, but Lu Yurin's life was rapidly fading. She clung tightly to my hand. "Listen to me. Basement level 3 of Nanshan Villa. There's a red safe. The code is your birthday. Don't talk. Save your strength. Inside is the truth." Her pupils began to dilate, and my real feelings for you. Her hands suddenly went limp, her head falling powerlessly to the side. The monitor emitted a piercing, flatline tone. "No!" I frantically pressed her chest. "Lu Yuran, wake up. You can't just. You can't." Paramedics rushed in and pulled me away. I watched them use the defibrillator on her, inject adrenaline, but the flatline never wavered. As the white sheet was slowly pulled over her face, I knelt on the floor, my vision blurred by tears. This game of revenge had no winners in the end. Lu Yurin's funeral was held on a drizzly morning. The cemetery was remote and deserted, attended only by me, Su Hung, and a few investigating officers. As a major criminal, she wasn't even eligible for the family burial plot, if that family had ever truly existed. After the priest finished the brief eulogy, the others gradually left, leaving me standing alone before the newly erected gravestone. The stone bore only her simple name and the dates of her birth and death. No epitaph, no photograph. Like her life, reduced to the blank space between two dates. "The Bureau has approved 2 weeks leave for you." Su Hung walked over, holding an umbrella. "It's been tough." I nodded, rainwater tracing paths down my cheeks, indistinguishable from tears. "About that red safe," Su Hung lowered his voice. "The tech team managed to open it. What's inside? You'd better see for yourself." Back at the police station, a metal safe sat on the evidence room table. Su Hung entered the code, my birthday, and the safe door clicked open. Inside, several items were neatly arranged: a USB drive, a diary, and a diamond ring. "Look at this first." Su Hung inserted the USB drive, and a video file appeared on the screen. The video began to play, showing Lu Yuran on screen. She wore a simple white shirt, the background looking like a safe house. The date stamp showed it was 3 months ago, before our final confrontation. If you're watching this video, it means I'm already dead. The Lu Yuran on screen looked directly into the camera, her expression calm, and you already know part of the truth. She took a deep breath. I am not Lu Cheng's biological daughter, but an experiment he selected from an orphanage. My entire life was designed, including my personality, my memories, even my loyalty to the family business. The Lu Yuran in the video held up a document. These are the experiment logs. They use drugs and hypnosis to mold us into perfect tools. I wasn't the only one. Us. I turned to Su Hong. At least 12 victims have been confirmed. Su Heng's expression was grave. Lu Cheng called them Project V. The video continued playing, but the designers made a mistake. Lu Yuran suddenly smiled. They couldn't completely erase humanity. After meeting you, I began to doubt my own memories, doubt those so-called family missions. She held up a small vial. This is a memory suppressant. It must be taken weekly, or the implanted false memories will start to break down. 3 months ago, I stopped taking the medication. In the video, tears glistened in her eyes. Real memories came flooding back like a tide. I remembered that amusement park. Remember my real name? Su Xiaoyu. The name hit me like an electric current. 12 years ago, during a hospital internship, I met a little girl who had lost her parents in a car accident. She refused to interact with anyone, except me. I folded paper airplanes for her every day, made her laugh, until she was picked up by relatives. Zhang Jingsheng. Lu Yuran, no, Su Xiaoyu. In the video, looked directly at the camera. Whatever your initial reason for approaching me was, I want to tell you. The girl who fell in love with you was the real me. The video ended on her smile. I sat stunned in the chair, countless fragments flashing through my mind. Her occasional displays of innocence, her strange fondness for paper airplanes, even her almost obsessive attachment to me. Everything now had an explanation. There's also this. Su Hong handed me the diary. Opening the first page, it read, "As the false memories fade, this is the truth I desperately tried to record." The diary recorded fragments of her gradually returning memories. The cold beds of the orphanage, the fear upon being chosen, the pain during the experiments. And, before her memories were completely altered, a photo she had secretly hidden, a picture of her and me in the hospital garden. This photo was my only piece of reality, she wrote on the last page. It helped me remember, while lost, that kindness still existed in the world. I picked up the diamond ring and found a small inscription on the inside. Even if the world is fake, my love is real. My chest felt as if an invisible hand was gripping it tightly, making it hard to breathe. This revenge. Who exactly did I take revenge on? A victim turned into a weapon? A soul who clung to me as a light in the darkness? The tech team recovered deleted files from the safe house computer. Su Hong interrupted my thoughts. She had indeed prepared a new identity and funds. But her destination wasn't escape. It was to turn herself in. I finished, suddenly understanding her plan. She planned to surrender after exposing the Lu family's crimes. Su Hong nodded. All the evidence points to that, including the evidence she gathered on the Lu family's crimes, which is far more comprehensive than what we have. I looked at her phone in the evidence bag and unlocked it one last time. In the photo album was a recently taken picture of a pregnancy test, labeled a lie, but how I wish it were true. So, even her final deception was carefully planned, not to gain sympathy, but to give me a reason to hate her, so I could complete my mission without hesitation. By the way, Su Hong said before leaving, the medical examiner found a microchip under the skin of her inner arm. It's been sent for analysis. 3 days later, the analysis results came back. It was a memory storage device, containing her complete memories from before the experiments. The tech team successfully extracted the data, restoring the entire life of a 12-year-old girl. Su Xiaoyu, born in City B, parents died in a car crash, hospitalized at Rinha Hospital for 2 weeks. The very department where I did my internship. Even more astonishingly, an encrypted file was hidden within the chip. After decrypting it, we discovered it contained the complete experimental records for Project V, including information on other victims and the Lu family's global criminal network. Based on this evidence, Interpol launched a large-scale operation, swiftly dismantling the Liu family's criminal empire. News outlets extensively covered the shocking case, and I, as the key undercover agent, was awarded a Medal of Honor. At the awards ceremony, I mechanically smiled, shook hands, and offered thanks. When reporters asked about Liu Yuran, I gave the official answer. A complex case, a tragic figure. That night, I went alone to Nanshan Villa, the now-seized Liu family mansion. From memory, I located the secret laboratory on the third basement level. The red safe was still in its place. It was empty inside, except for a small photograph. 12-year-old Su Xiaoyu standing in a hospital garden, holding a paper airplane, her smile bright and pure. I put the photograph in my pocket and walked out of that place filled with sin. Stars dotted the night sky, like countless eyes watching the mortal world. Perhaps in some parallel universe, the girl named Su Xiaoyu was never taken away, grew up safely, and we might meet her again by chance. And I would fold a paper airplane, hand it to her, and say, "Long time no see."